Hey there, science people. We are here for the last diagram and really the last factor that affects climate. We're going to talk about wind belts today. Okay, so we just did a diagram on the pressure belts of the Earth, and now we're going to talk about how the pressure changes the different wind. So we're going to go back to that beautiful set of notes that we have that has the two really big circles representing the Earth, right? Something that looks like this. This is the diagram we did before. Okay, so now we're going to go down here to the world pressure belts, world wind belts. Okay, what causes the world wind belts are the belts of pressure. When you have high pressure, air is going to flow from high to low. It's the only way it can go. Okay, so the world wind belts are a result of the world pressure belts. And the world pressure belts result because the Earth is not heated equally and the Earth rotates. Okay, so we're now going to jump down, and you'll notice I already added a couple pieces of info here, right? I added a bunch of L's and a bunch of H's. Okay, these L's represent that equatorial low. The H's represent the subtropic highs, subpolar low, polar high. Okay, so I just did a few of them in there so that you can get an idea of the direction and the different types of pressure belts there. So what we're going to do is we're going to draw how the air moves. Now, we talked about the Coriolis effect, and we said because the Earth is rotating, air in the northern hemisphere always appears to get deflected to the right. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my green colored pencil, and I am going to show you the way the air moves from the high to the low. Okay. Now, the air wants to go right from the high straight to the low. But the problem is the Earth's rotating. So as it comes out of a high air pressure, it comes out and gets deflected to the right. And it does this for all three of the air pressures I've drawn here. Okay. Now, it does this going south too, but if it's going south from our perspective, it's backwards. It goes like this. It comes out, it gets deflected to the right. Now, that's our left because our perspective makes that look upside down. All right. Always gets deflected to the right in the northern hemisphere. Because of this motion, you see that if I connect all these arrows, there is a trend of air motion that moves from the west to the east. And because winds always get their name from the direction they came, we're going to call this wind belt, this belt of wind from 30 degrees to 60 degrees, we're going to call this the westerlies. And folks, all of the continental United States is in the westerlies. So all of the lower 48 gets its air from the west. Some of you might have even heard this phrase where we say, you know, the weather in Chicago today is the weather in Detroit tomorrow. It's not exactly true, but it's pretty close. We can get an idea based on what's happening. Okay. Then let's go ahead and go down to the southern hemisphere and watch what happens down here, right? In the southern hemisphere, everything gets deflected to the left. So I'm going to draw air coming out, getting deflected to the left. Okay, comes out, gets deflected to the left. Now, from our perspective, when it moves south, it's going to get deflected to the left again, but it's our right. So it looks like this. And once again, we have another pattern here of air going from the left to the right, what we call the westerlies. So between 30 south and 60 south is another wind belt called the westerlies. Notice from 30 north all the way down to 30 south, we have belts of wind that go from the right to the left. This would be called an easterly wind. It's coming from the east, and winds get their name from the direction they came. But we don't call them that. We call them the trade winds, right? Because quite literally, we use them to sail across the Atlantic Ocean at a quicker rate, all right? So they were for early trading between the continents, all right? It is an easterly wind, so I'm still going to write easterlies down here in parentheses because it is coming from the east. All right, last wind belt is a result of that polar high. Okay. In the northern hemisphere, air comes out of a high and gets deflected to the right. But because this one's traveling south, it's gonna get it's gonna go to our left. That's our perspective. Right. So we still get a wind belt that moves from the right to the left. That's an easterly wind. So we call this the polar easterlies. Okay. Same thing happens down here, except the air comes out of the high, gets deflected to the left. When it gets deflected to the left, we get these belts that are moving from right to left. Again, this is a polar easterly. Alrighty, folks. Here's the key. This is what's most important. 30 degrees to 60 degrees. All of continental United States. We get our air from the west and it moves to the east. There you go. That's it. Thank you very much. You're good people. Stay strong. Stay healthy.